Today, we are diving into the science of focus and a surprisingly easy, totally painless way to get it back, especially in a world that is just constantly begging for our attention. You know the feeling, right? You sit down, you're ready to tackle that big, important project, and suddenly your phone seems like the most fascinating object in the universe. That endless scroll, it's effortless. But focusing on the stuff that actually matters, wow, that can feel like climbing a mountain. So what is going on? Well, the answer is hiding inside a tiny little chemical in your brain. Turns out, we're all kind of caught in what you might call a modern pleasure trap. And the key to understanding how to get out of it is this idea of cheap dopamine. So first things first, what even is dopamine? Simply put, it's the molecule of motivation. Think of it like your brain's little reward system. When you do something that feels good, like, eating something delicious or seeing a new notification pop up, your brain releases a little hit of dopamine. It's basically saying, hey, that was awesome. Let's do that again. It's a survival mechanism, really. But here's the catch. Not all dopamine hits are created equal. And this is where the dilemma really kicks in. On one side, you've got cheap dopamine. This is all about instant rewards for practically zero effort. Think scrolling short videos, eating junk food. You get the picture. But on the other side, you have premium dopamine. This is the good stuff that comes from high-effort things with a delayed reward, like finally finishing a tough project or dragging yourself to the gym. The satisfaction is so much deeper, but yeah, it takes real work to get there. See, our brains are incredibly smart, but they're also wired to be super efficient, which sometimes, well, it means they're kind of lazy. When we just constantly feed them these easy, low-effort, high-reward hits, they adapt. They start to expect that huge reward without any of the hard work, and that creates a vicious cycle that makes those difficult, meaningful tasks feel even harder. And the consequence of this cycle running on repeats? You end up with a brain that's just fried. It's overstimulated, it's exhausted from all those cheap hits, and our ability to actually concentrate just completely tanks. And before you know it, we're left with an attention span that might actually be shorter than a goldfish's. Okay, so that sounds a little bleak, I know. But it is not all bad news. There is a way out of this trap, and it's what we're calling a painless detox, designed to reset your brain and help you take back control. Now, I know what you're thinking. When you hear the word detox, your mind probably jumps to deprivation, restriction, and, well, just feeling miserable, right? But does it really have to be like that? Let's just completely reframe this whole idea. This is not about punishment or taking away all the fun things in your life. Not at all. I want you to think of it more like a gentle, maybe even a fun game. And the prize for playing? You get to win back control over your focus and your life. So, if it's a game, how do we play? It all starts with a simple toolkit designed to do one main thing. Make your bad habits just a little bit harder to indulge in. We've got 3 core strategies. First, we're going to add a little bit of friction to those bad habits. Second, we'll try out a microfast. And finally, and this is the best part, we're going to replace those cheap dopamine sources with something way, way more rewarding. Okay, first up, increase friction. This sounds technical, but it's so simple. It's all about putting small, easy obstacles between you and your distractions. The absolute easiest way to start, just move those social media and video apps off your home screen. Tuck them away in a folder on the second or third page. That one extra swipe gives your brain just enough time to pause and ask, hey, do I really want to be doing this right now? Now for my favorite trick, and this one is a total game changer. Set your phone to grayscale mode. You have to realize, all those bright, shiny, colorful app icons, they were designed by behavioral psychologists to be as tempting as a candy store. When you strip away all that color, you strip away a massive part of the temptation.
And hey, this isn't just a fun theory. The data actually backs this up. Studies have shown that people who switch their phones to grayscale cut down their daily screen time by an average of 38 minutes. That is a huge win for such a tiny change. It just makes mindless scrolling feel, well, boring, and your brain naturally starts looking for something more interesting to do.
All right, strategy number 2 is the micro fast. And the key word here is micro. Please do not try to go cold turkey and lock your phone away for 24 hours. That's way too hard, and it just sets you up to fail. Instead, start ridiculously small. Just set aside 15 minutes a day, where you intentionally put your phone in another room. It's doable, it's sustainable, and it starts to build that focus muscle. And this leads us to the final and honestly, the most important part of our whole toolkit, the payoff. See, it's not enough to just get rid of bad habits. We have to find better pleasures to fill that new space.
You know, the easiest way to break a bad habit is to replace it with a good one. It's that simple. So the next time you feel that itch to scroll, use that feeling as a trigger. Instead of picking up your phone, go for a quick walk, do a few push-ups, or try a short meditation. There's this practice called yoga nidra, or yogic sleep, that's especially amazing for this. It's basically a guided meditation that helps you get deeply relaxed and reset your mind.
And here's where you really feel the difference. It's like night and day. The pleasure you get from that cheap dopamine, it's fleeting. It disappears almost instantly and just leaves you wanting another hit. But the satisfaction you get from premium dopamine, from that walk, that workout, that finished project, that feeling is deep and it sticks with you. It builds real, genuine self-esteem. So what's the big takeaway here? When you boil it all down, the whole point of this entire process is to consciously, intentionally reclaim your focus. And remember, this was never about deprivation. The goal is absolutely not to live some boring life without any pleasure. It's to give your pleasure an upgrade, to trade in the cheap, temporary kind for the rich, lasting kind that actually makes you feel good. Ultimately, it all comes down to this one powerful idea. By just being a little more intentional about where you get your dopamine from, you take back the keys to your own attention. You get to decide what's important. And in doing that, you unlock a much deeper, more meaningful kind of satisfaction. So I'll leave you with this final thought, a little challenge. What is one small, completely painless action you can take right now? What is the one distracting app you can just drag off your home screen to start playing the game?